Jim, congratulations, great win, very important win as well, of course, today.
Well, every point's going to be important, and in the context of what's happened today in terms of all the other results, it's a great 3 point. In the context of the way the game was going and how the first half went, it's a massive 3 points, and I can't give enough credit to the players.
You kept faith with the players in the first half, although you didn't look too happy with the way that first 45 went.
It's difficult. Because we had this with FC United when we won the first 2 games, and then we're going to the next game, and we just can't get going. We couldn't find any adrenaline, and maybe the sun, maybe the way they were playing de-energised us a little bit. But they took a risk. They changed their team. They put the 2 midfielders in. They changed the front players, and they took a gamble on freshening up their squad. And I think it paid off for them. And tactically, Andy's a clever lad. They used the diagonals quite well. The front 2 were a handful. They picked up a lot of ball, and we found it difficult to get out. So we made a tactical change at half time, which allowed us to keep the front 3 closer together. Yeah. And I think it worked in terms of getting us up the pitch. And ultimately, when the subs came on, the whole mentality and momentum of the game changed.
Well, the subs were terrific. I mean, that really did work a treat for you, and particularly Kane Felix, I thought was outstanding.
Well, we were a bit concerned about him before the game because he had tonsillitis, and we've been looking at formations that allow us to keep to try and play Danny and Kane, but they're both very much in the mentality of playing really high and right up alongside the centre forward, and it's very difficult for us defensively if that happens. But we made a subtle change and sort of went to try to get the Sam and Connor to play as wing backs and let the 3 centre backs, if Rossi become a 3rd centre back, and deal with the diagonals. Lewis and Harry had a simpler job in terms of holding the shape, and then they could feed the front 3. Not because of Smalley's injury, but I just thought the nature of the game, they sort of dropped their centre forward and they were playing with 1, so I think it was a natural one for us to take off one of the centre halves. And with Smalley having a bit of a bang on his back, I thought, let's get Kane on. The play seemed to be, for some reason, down my side of the pitch, so I thought, let's get a right winger on. Let's, again, up the tempo in terms of the pressure we can put on him. And then, so I think it made a difference. And it's probably the hardest I've had to work, and probably the hardest week the lads have had to work. And I can't give them enough credit, because for the way that they got going second half and the way that they seen the game out was very professional, and was a massive credit to their professionalism.
There is a saying about successful teams win ugly. Do you think that's what you've done today?
I don't think it was an ugly game. I think it was a game where obviously they freshened it up. They established themselves. Lads were kind of slicing balls, and we couldn't get any more. We de-energised ourselves a little bit, and obviously the goal kind of caused us to de-energise again. I just thought we needed half time to come, correct ourselves. Like I said, it was the hardest I've had to work at half time to try and get the lads to change their mentality, change the way we played second half. And like I said, but once they stirred themselves and once they stirred the crowd, I think the second half was all about the energy of Edgley Park, and it was all about the players' application. And I think we were disappointed in the end that we didn't go and seal the win, because our mentality at the end of the game is not to lock up games. Is to go and press for a third goal, and I thought we did that really well. So the lads have taken that aboard and raised the game throughout the second half and kept going up notches, and with 6 minutes at a time we still look the more threatening side.
Is it a sign of confidence that you were able to let 2 players go out on loan as well this week, that you're very confident in the depth of your squad and the strength of your players?
Well, with Josh Amos out and with a thing and Kane, you kind of start getting worried. I think each one of them is a different conundrum, in the sense of that they're desperate to play games. We would have liked both of them to be out earlier on loan and to be able to come back and play in this run of games where we could perhaps potentially change things. So a little bit disappointed that Jon's gone out at this stage, but I've took a chance on that if we're going to use Jon's going to go out and play 5 games for them, possibly 6, because they've got a midweek game. And then when he comes back, we've still got hopefully at least 2, 3, maybe 4, 5 games left. So what we need is Jon's been a little bit disappointed with himself, and we've been a little bit disappointed that we haven't been able to give him enough games to play him at the best. Hopefully he goes out, does a job for Telford, gets them safe, and then he's up to speed, because I still think he has a part to play in our season, and the same with all the other lads. We've had loads of opportunities to get players out, and I've kept some inside. Some want to stay and play a part, and there's others who perhaps they've been a little bit de-energised because of the distance they are from the first team, and so it was important to make sure that they're right and give them the opportunity to play football. And like I said, it wasn't about the confidence of the squad. There's always a risk around the corner. We got Smalley with a back injury, Danny with a foot injury, so you never know what might happen. But like I said, I think it was important to have a mindset of, come the end of the season, if we have a John Marsden available to us on a 24-hour recall for the final couple of games, that'd be brilliant for us, and he's up to speed. Ryan Ellison the same. We've got Max Cartwright available to us. We've got George West. We've got, we've got some good academy lads. But I think there's plenty within the group at the moment. But the 16 today were magnificent. It's very much, it's not just about the 11. It's about the 14, and then the lads on the bench were brilliant in terms of the way that they stirred everybody up. So it was great. It was, like I said, it was a really important day for us. And I think at half time people might have lost a little bit of faith, but when the lads got going, they showed you that there's something special going on here at the moment.
How bad are the injuries, Danny? And Chris Smalley, I know you've kind of been patching him up really the last couple of weeks, haven't you?
Yeah, I think he got a really bad bang. He's a great head, and the lad's gone right through the back of him, and I think he's played on with it. And to be fair to him, he's done brilliant today in terms of what he's done both in a back four and a back three. But the physio is mindful of the long, how he might be. So when we decided to go to a back four and bring Kane on and if you like, have another attacking dimension, the easiest choice was for Smalley to come off because of the injury side of it. So we've managed that quite well, and I think he'll be fine. Like I said, hopefully it settles down. Same with Danny. I think he's got a trapped nerve. It's nothing major. He was able to run it off, but he was feeling a little bit. And I think it was the right time for us to get Scott on and, if you like, sort of just tighten up and be nice and strong. And like I said, it's a squad game, and the lads, every one of them has done brilliant today.
Well, you're in the top 5 now. Does that mean your fate is in your own hands now at last for the next sort of half a dozen games?
Well, I think if we win all our games, we'll be in the playoffs. I think statistically we can rely on that, because other teams have got to play each other. But at the moment, Halifax and Darlington have a game in hand, and if they win that, but Halifax is against Brackley, so there's going to be loads of twists and turns. When you see the results there, you couldn't have predicted some of them. The way we played today, it was really important. We just get the best out of games, and it was a magnificent result, especially when you look at half time, that we've got to try and. So that experience will stand us in good stead, because Nuneaton have had a fantastic win today. Gloucester, we've got there's a lot of football to be played, and we can't take anything for granted because of teams below us. What was great for us was to get maximum points today. A home record now is better than our away record, which I predicted. Yeah. And I think that's down to the influence and the energy that we're getting from the players here and the fans, and another great turnout, and hopefully another fantastic turnout next weekend, because the heat is definitely turning up on this season.
Well, I mean, it's 4 months. I haven't seen you lose in 4 months here at Edgeley Park, which is a phenomenal record. Well,
it's a massive turnaround, because people think this is, the Wembley for other teams, and it's their cup final and that. But I think it is for our lads. Our lads are treating this like a special place to play football. Don't get me wrong, we had some tired performances today, and lads had the drag performance happening, but that's where you need people to energise them, keep positive. And like I said, I love Edgeley Park. There's a lot of history here, but for us, that was probably the biggest performance of the season. You can go away and you can say mistakes, this, that, and the other, but for us to dig a result out at this stage against a team that's right on our tails, and to win in these circumstances when everybody else is losing, is a fantastic testament to professionalism of our players.
You talk about history, Jim, just finally, you're very much part of it now. You are the second longest serving county manager. You've overtaken Danny Bergara for the number of games that you've managed here at Edgeley Park, making you second in the all-time list. That's a fantastic achievement as well. You must be proud, man.
No, I mean, I've never wanted to leave, but and I've always wanted to come back at the right time with the right people. And I think at the moment we're primed. I've always been lived in Stockport. I've enjoyed the town. My family are very settled here, and I know whether it's the school playground or the road, to just meet county fans, and it's so important, the club to the town. It's so important to me. I just want to go on and be the highest.
Yeah.
But I think, you know, there's been about 5 managers in the history that have achieved honours, and we're desperate for promotion. We're desperate to be successful this year, and hopefully that'll be the measure really, rather than the amount of games or the length. It's all about being successful, and I think everything here at the moment, the board are backing me. There's great energy about the place. The fans are back on side, and everything's alive and kicking, and it's great to be part of that.
Fantastic. Well said.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
Cheers.